Welcome to the second annual St. Louis Norm event, the St. Louis Classic. This tournament is split into two fields, one for the Grandmasters and the GM Norm Hunters, and the other is for the International Masters and the IM Norm Hunters. In the Grandmaster section, John Bartholomew was the only norm seeker to win this round. He defeated Darwin Yang with white.
I played several norm tournaments before, not a ton of closed norm tournaments, round robin format, so it's nice to play in this one. I feel like your chances are always better to make a GM norm in a closed tournament. Nowadays I do a lot of chess coaching, so I don't get a chance to play as much, but I'm very happy to be here and playing in a norm tournament because I usually don't get these opportunities. So I played this move, queen to b4 in this position here. And I thought the position was already a little difficult for him because his b7 and d6 pawns are under attack. He played a pretty natural looking move, queen c7, defending both pawns. And here I saw that I could play c5 and just open up the position. And it seemed pretty thematic. He doesn't have a dark square bishop, so his dark squares are going to be kind of weak. And after I play c5, there's a threat on d6. So he's pretty much obligated to take it. And I took back with the queen, which threatens the knight on e7. Here I was really expecting knight to g6, but he really surprised me. He took on d5 instead, just sacrificing the knight, which maybe under the circumstances was a pretty good practical decision, because after I take the knight, he takes on e4, and due to a couple tricks, like I can't play knight b4 here because he plays either rook to e8 and my queen is trapped. So the principal thing to do is just to retreat the knight to e1, try to hold on to the piece. So I did that. He played rook fe8, moved my queen back, and then his idea is bishop b5 to threaten my rook on f1. And he's going to win the material back. But in the resulting position, I have two minor pieces, and I feel it's really tough for him. And Darwin was also getting into pretty bad time pressure around about here, so that definitely worked in my favor. I played bishop b5. He took on f1. I took back. He gave a check. I went king g1. And if we go forward a little bit, h3. Darwin said this was strong after the game. He felt that this was maybe a turning point, and I'm kind of inclined to agree. h6. So responding to an attack with an attack. Chop those minor pieces. And now I want to win the e4 pawn. If I can win the e4 pawn cleanly, this should be really good for white, if not winning, with the two minor pieces. So I went here and then here. He hits the pawn on b2 with this move, so especially under his time pressure, I didn't want to trade queens or anything. So queen e2, holding on to the pawn and still threatening e4. And he pushed, messing up my pawn structure. And this moment right here, he was very low on time, and we still have to make the time control at move 40. I had a little think because I felt like there was something strong for white in this position. And I think I found the right solution. I mean, haven't had a chance to check it yet, but I traded queens and then played bishop d5, just giving my g-pawn. But the doubled isolated g-pawns are not that important to white. It's more important to get activity for my pieces. So I felt like this was really key, because if I play some move like, defending the g-pawn or something else, maybe pawn e4, then my minor pieces are really restricted. So bishop d5 was key because I give up the pawn, but after this, his rooks are really uncoordinated, and my position just got better and better from here.
As we see the standings for the first time, it's important to note that Irina Krush has earned herself the GM title already. It just has yet to be made official. In the International Master section, Kostya Kavitsky was the only norm seeker to grab a point this round. He defeated Jeffrey Zhang with black.
So you kind of have to forget about the age and try to respect each opponent, because kids are especially really strong in tactical situations where there's a lot of complications, and that's where you lose. But we got this endgame. He just played the move e5, and I think that white's definitely playing to win here just because his d6 pawn is so strong and his rook and bishop are so active. Well, here I played rook e8. I don't think I have any other moves, otherwise his pieces are too active and he might promote his d-pawn. And now he actually played rook takes a6, which I thought was maybe even a serious mistake. I thought d7 was the best move. And then I have to play rook d8, and then e6. I have to take, bishop takes. And now he's threatening rook c8, which would promote the pawn, so I have no choice but to play king f8. So I can play king e7 and defend the rook. And here I figured that, he can play some move with his bishop, like bishop f5, and I'm basically stuck. My rook and king are extremely passive because of this pawn. And next he can either take the h6 pawn or the a6 pawn. His rook is super active. I don't know if white's winning by force here, but it's really, really unpleasant for black because I just have no active moves. But instead he took this pawn on a6, which gave me a lot of chances not to draw, but even to win the game. So I took on e5. He played bishop c6, and then I played rook e2 check, king f1, rook d2. And he took this pawn on b5. So now we both have 3 pawns, but the difference here is that my rook and bishop are perfectly placed, and I have my rook behind his d-pawn. It can't really promote itself so easily, and his rook and bishop are in a really awkward position. So I play bishop g4 to prevent d7. And now I think black is actually better here. I think white's in pretty huge trouble because his d-pawn is stuck, and my h-pawn is getting ready to just run down the board, and it seems pretty fast. So he played king e1, rook d1, king f2, and here I just played h5. And I'm not sure if he was still trying to win at this moment. I think he realized that he might be in trouble, so he tried to bail out with rook c6, which is a clever move because if I play bishop d7, he has rook c5, and the g5 pawn ends up hanging with check. But instead I just played h4, and now I just want to pull my bishop back and then play g4 and g3. And because his king is so badly placed, I think my pawns are a lot stronger just because I can create some kind of mating threats as well as try and promote the pawns. So he played a4. I'm not sure if actually white can defend or find a way to equalize the position, so he just kind of went for it here to push his a-pawn. And we were both down to like 2 or 3 minutes, so there wasn't a whole lot of lines we could calculate here. We sort of just had to play an instinct. So I played bishop e6 to get my g-pawn rolling, bishop e2, and rook d4. Now I want to take his b4 pawn if he lets me. He played a5. And here I figured I don't really need to take this b4 pawn. I don't see how it helps me, so I just played g4. And I was able to calculate something here, and I felt like I was definitely promoting first if it was just a clear race, like it happened in the game. And so this was a pretty good evaluation. So he played a6. He's really got nothing else at this point. g3 check. And now with king g1, I'm just going to play rook takes b4. And I think black is winning by force. The point is that a7, I play rook b1 check. And if king g2, I have bishop d5 check, and I win the rook. And looks like I might even just be well, I stop his pawns and I can promote my own. And then if bishop f1, then bishop h3, and he can queen, but I just take on f1 and it's mate. So I think he saw this line and he played king e3 to try and complicate things. So I played g2, and this basically forces his king to go back. And here I played rook f4 check. I really don't know if this is the best move. I mean, the evaluation might swing from black is winning to white is winning to equal. But this seemed like the right idea. He can't take the pawn again because of bishop d5 check. So he had to play king g1. And here I found this move h3, which I think is pretty strong. And the point is that if he plays a7, I'm going to play rook h4. And if he queens, then I'll play h2 with check, queen with check, and then probably have a forced mate there. When you queen with check, you just assume that you're going to mate the open king. And if he plays something like king h2, instead of queening, then I think I just queen. He takes, I give a check, and I bishop d5 check again. Or actually, I just queen with check. So he played rook c3, and this is just a losing move. I mean, he had almost no time at this point. So I took this b4 pawn. Now I've got ideas to play rook b1 and rook h1 mate, or just queen the pawn. So he played king h2, rook b1. Now I just want a queen, so he had to play rook g3 check, king h6. And here, if he keeps his rook on g3, then I just play rook h1 mate, so the game is more or less over. He sacrificed his rook, but of course in this position, black has a million ways to win. I played rook a1, and he basically resigned.
For any player in either section, one needs 6.5 points by the end of the round robin to qualify for a norm. Kostya has high hopes, and he's on his way. Watch the games live online at uschesschamps.com and watch for these daily updates on our YouTube channel, STL Chess Club. Don't forget to subscribe.